I like to tell people that I entered seminary knowing myself as a straight Christian, and left seminary understanding myself as a pansexual agnostic. That may not be the typical journey of every seminary student, but it was mine. I can remember when I first noticed this shift within myself. I was working at a Christian camp in eastern Iowa for the summer. It was between my second and third year of school. And in the evenings at this camp, we would bring the campers together and sing camp songs. On this one particular night, though, the gentleman leading the time decided to sing praise and worship songs instead. I stood in the back watching as everyone sang, most with their eyes closed, raising their hands and crying as they experienced a God that they loved. I was crying too, but not because I experienced the love for God, but because I was mourning the faith that I once knew. In that moment, I felt alone. I felt changed, and I did not feel at home. I went back to seminary the next year with a question in the back of my mind. Where do I belong? The answer to that question came over the next year, and I found it in my UU friends at school. Before coming to school, I had never heard of the Unitarian Universalist Church, and it took me until that year to really begin asking questions of what this faith was all about. One Sunday, I went to a UU church with my friend Tiffany, and on that day, she was sharing her own message on why she belonged to the UU church. As she shared her message of feeling like she had finally found a church where she could be authentic and feel at home, she cried. She was bursting with gratitude and love for what the UU church meant to her. I wanted that. You know, that's the message that I always got in my youth group growing up. You want to make other people realize that they want what you have. And it worked in this case. I joined the UU church because it feels like home. When I told this to Mark, he asked me to describe what I meant by that, the UU church feeling like home. It means that I found a place where I do not have to fit into a box. I do not have to fit into a label, but that I can continue to grow and change how I interact with the world and how I view the sacredness both within myself and the sacredness that I find beyond myself. It also means that I'm not doing this process alone. There are people here with me on this quest to find out what is truth. And the real beauty of the UU church that I have learned is that when it is lived out purely and authentically, is that those people who may disagree with me 100%, they can also challenge me and value me at the same time. That to me is why this feels like home. Because if we lived our faith, or if we even attempted to live into this faith, we can create relationships that are dynamic and full of love, which in turn creates change both within ourselves and in this world. This invitation to live into the UU faith has been a strong one for me recently. As I witness the bubbling up of our heritage as a white-dominated, racist society and the anger against all that this means, I feel a challenge and an invitation. It comes up for me when I see people shouting Black Lives Matter and others responding in anger, but all lives matter. I hear its whisper as I feel myself get angry when I hear homophobic comments or when I hear people supporting legislation that I feel undermines the value of women. The invitation that I hear is to find that balance between standing firm in what I hold as truth and listening with love to those who may stand in opposition. And this balance, I have to admit, is a hard place to find. I wish I had the answer to how we create change in this world without tearing others down or without building walls up. I think this church has found ways of doing this in our community, but there are still those moments when all you want to do is shout and tell someone that they are wrong and that what they are doing is hurting others. It is in these moments when I want to tear down the foundation that someone else is standing on that my UU faith challenges me. It invites me. Invites me to recognize my anger, invites me to recognize the other person's anger, to recognize the importance of what is going on, to recognize the worth of the lives being harmed, and still move forward in a way that values all of humanity. That is a hard invitation to answer, one that I often want to throw away and pretend that I never got. Luckily, though, we do not have to answer it alone. We have the experience, wisdom, mistakes, and triumphs of others in this congregation to learn from. And for this, I am truly grateful that I have found this home.